Hello fellow wanderers. If you like your walking with the side of deep time, shifting continents and the occasional ice age, then you're in the right place. My old school pal Donks and I are off to tramp the Pembrokeshire Coast Path. 186 miles of raw, rugged beauty along Wales's wild western edge. In our first walking week, we'll tackle the stretch from St.Dogmaels down to St. David's Head, where every step takes us across a story written in the rocks beneath. From the days when the first hard-shelled creatures scuttled around in ancient seas, through mass extinctions, tectonic collisions and glaciers that scraped the landscape into its present stunning form, Donks and I will be puzzling over it all. Of course, it's not just about the rocks. We'll be diving deep into Pembrokeshire's economic past, from the earliest human settlements to the industries that have helped shape its coastline. But mostly we'll be soaking up these towering cliffs, sweeping bays and endless sea views. And this is our first long distance path together since we conquered the mighty Southwest Coast Path, all 630 miles of it. And we fully intend to savour this magical long distance coast path too. So lace up your boots, pack a sandwich or two and join Donks and I on the magical Pembrokeshire Coast Path. My co-star in my walking videos is of course Donks. We met way back in the 70s, a friendship forged over mid-school assemblies, bonding together on the sports pitches and of course Led Zeppelin. My walking pal is proof positive that endurance comes in many forms. Nearly 700 miles of walking together on the mighty Southwest Coast Path, plus over 40 years on the road for the Padlock Factory, and a 24/7 taxi service for his family to whom he's devoted. Quick-witted, fiercely loyal to many hopeless causes, including the football teams of Scotland, Everton and Bristol Rovers, sadly. Donks walks with quiet grit, pondering whether or not he needs another waterproof jacket to add to his Imelda Marcos-sized pile of outdoor gear and equipment in his crowded loft. Yet mile after mile, Donks is rock solid. A coast path legend. This time Donks and I are walking in the great country of Wales, and as a mark of our fondness for this beautiful land, I shall attempt using the Welsh language place names as best I can. Do forgive my mispronunciations. Now I want to give you a flavour of our 6 walks in the sun to introduce my little series, coming soon here, of walking the Pembrokeshire Coast Path with Donks. We reckon on taking 3 walking weeks overall to tramp the whole darn thing. This time we did nearly 70 miles on 6 days of gentle strolling. Stand by for a whistle-stop tour of our week away. Our week of walking in the sun started with us pondering the land-grabbing Normans at St.Dogmaels, moving swiftly on to the coast path high point, quite literally. We were thrilled with our first geological insight at Kemai's Head. Here, the dark-coloured rocks have been bent, buckled and battered into submission by ancient earth movements. And above this geological torture chamber, well, the cattle, they just chewed the cud and carried on regardless. We tramped on. We soon discovered the local obsession with numbered stiles. I think Donks was collecting them. As for the bridges, wooden, sturdy and often the only thing between you and wet socks. So many bridges and so many stiles. You could almost get philosophical about this walking, and we loved it. Towards the end of day 2, more or less in the sight of Newport Sands, Treff Draith, we got to Pembrokeshire, a classic waterfall falling down onto the beach. Perhaps, after the dry weather, a bit of a polite apology for waterfall, but nevertheless a place of some watery magic. Well, every now and again you pick the wrong place to park. And this was an example. A classic error. Couple of car parks to choose from in Trefdraeth, Newport, and we chose the wrong one. Never mind. Shorter walk today, longer walk tomorrow. In Trefdraeth we met a lifeboat station so darned attractive it could easily do Instagram. I liked it very much indeed. We dropped down into the valley of the church, Cwm I'r Eglwys. I actually thought it should be called the Valley of the Glacial Meltwater Channel, but that's another story for another time. The ruins of the storm-battered Norman church clinging to the very edge of the bay. A fine place to stop, chew the cud and have a cup of coffee. And we girded our loins, ready for the ascent up to the top of Pen Dinas. I like a triangulation pillar or trig point, and this was no exception. Donks loved it too. We scaled Dinas Head, Pen Dinas, 465 feet above sea level, as measured at Newlyn. And it was worth it just for the trig pillar alone. Donks liked it so much, he gave it a cuddle. It had been a long morning. Abergwaun Fort, Fishguard Fort, with cannons, that once upon a time fired in anger, I believe, at Ben Franklin's privateer, the Black Prince. Yes, the Ben Franklin. Next up on our walking week was a big tour round the head of Strumble, and what a marvellous day it was. Lots of great geology, a lighthouse straight out of Tolkien, a failed French invasion, and a marvellous poet, Dowie Emrys. The French tried landing, and the poet wandered around here. Both left their mark on this rugged and raw, wild landscape. And both of us loved this walk very much indeed. But it was a hard day. Southwest we headed again, past the ancient stones of Carrig Sanson, and on through to the mill at Treffin, where I espied no trouble at all. Some rather impressive millstones these.
Lots of abrasive pieces, and it's quartz. So this is a quartz, what we call a quartz pudding stone.
Porthgain buzzed with echoes of a busier age, and the promise of fish and chips and a pint on the morrow. So, 5 walks done, 1 to go, and the forecast was still great. Wales, like the rest of Britain, had basked in early spring sunshine, and it felt to me that we had all awoken from a bad dream of grey, gloomy days into the springtime proper. At last, I thought, as we sped back to our lodgings. A final day of walking, and the sun still very much had her hat on. We got to Traeth Liffin early doors, steep stairs and a touch of vertigo, but what a glorious bay that was. On we went to the Blue Lagoon and watched daring youth jumping into it.
Splendid. Yeah. Oh my word, that was a somersault.
Whilst we looked for fossils, I found one, older than us, just. I'm happy with this one. And it's staying in my pocket. We had lucked out with blue skies and warm sunshine all week long. On the final day, we got a bit of weather. From Aberystwyth southwards, the sea mist rolled in. We wandered like hobbits in a low-budget horror. Then, once again, out into the sunshine, the golden sands of White Sands Bay and the marvellous Gabbro Rock of St. David's Head itself. We emerged, not exactly triumphant, but definitely peckish. Well, if you made it this far, thank you. I really do appreciate your company, and honestly, your stamina is impressive. Now, if you're curious about the parking spots or fancy following the route yourself, you'll find all the details and an Ordnance Survey map linked down below. There are plenty more walks on my channel, and I usually upload a new one most Saturdays, unless my Primus explodes or I get lost in a bog. Do subscribe and follow me. I'm Steve, the PonyTailed pensioner. Let's keep wandering.